Welcome back to College 101. It took me 6 years to graduate, and I want to tell you why and why it might be the best choice for you. So, a lot of people are thinking about taking gap years. I've seen this all over Reddit, all over the internet. People get burnt out. People want to try something new. They deserve it. They need to relax, whatever it might be. A lot of people wonder if they can, if they should, what a gap year even is. For those of you who might not be familiar with that term, a gap year is just that. It's a year where you take a gap in your schooling. It could be sometimes just a semester, it could be a full year, just a couple semesters, whatever it might be. The first thing to think about is you do need to check with your school and see if there are any limitations about how long you can be gone. For example, at BYU, I believe you could miss one major semester per year. So you could miss fall or winter semester every year, but not full. So check with your school's policies before you accidentally find out you get kicked out for taking a gap year. But you'll find that if you have a reason for it, even if it's just something like personal reasons, family reasons, mental health, physical health, they'll be very accommodating. You don't have to have some signed doctor's note. You don't have to have some specific program lined up. In the end, they just want to communicate with you and know that you're planning on coming back. If they don't hear from you, they're just going to assume you're gone. Today, I want to go through 4 reasons why you should take a gap year. So the first one is you don't know what you want to major in at all. So there are a lot of people who maybe don't know exactly what they want to major in. Maybe they say, I know I want to go into the medical field, or I know I want to go into the social sciences, but they don't know if they want to do econ or psychology, or mechanical or electrical engineering, or something similar like that. But if you have absolutely no idea what you want to major in, it might be worth taking a gap year. Now, if you go to college and you do 1 semester, 2 semesters, maybe even 3 semesters, you're kind of testing the waters. You're getting general education credits out of the way that you would have to take anyways. But once you get past that first year, 18 months, that's when you start throwing money away. You're going to start taking a bunch of classes that you don't need. You're going to find out that your major actually has 5 or 6 or 7 courses you have to take one after the other. So you're still going to take another 3 or 4 years to graduate. So it's things like that where I would hate for you to go to school, kind of wander around, try different things, and not really even enjoy it for 2 or 3 years while paying a lot of money just to find out that you know exactly what you want to major in, but you're too far in debt to finish. So taking a gap year, if you have no clue what you want to major in, is a great option. You can find out a lot about yourself by focusing on yourself, trying some different jobs, talking to people you know your friends' parents, talking to high school teachers, whoever you feel like is an adult mentor that maybe you can ask for some advice, and try some things out. And especially when you remove yourself from the pressure of being in school and that schedule and that timeline and comparing yourself to everybody else, you might find out what you truly enjoy. The second reason why you might take a gap year or gap semester is if you have a specific job or experience lined up. I personally took 2 years of a gap year for my missionary experience. Again, don't want to get into the theology with you guys in this video, but I went and I was one of those LDS missionaries, white shirt and tie, knocking on doors for 2 years. That was a program that I personally felt was a great return on investment because I got to meet a lot of people, develop skills, network, and explore things. Sure, I was just in Southern California. I wasn't exploring the world or learning a foreign language like a lot of missionaries do. But still, the things I learned in that were invaluable, and I'm going to be making loads of videos about my gap year experience as a missionary and talk about the lessons I learned there that were extremely applicable to school. Other gap year experiences that you might take could have a similar effect on your trajectory through life. Another example is that it might be easier to get internships, co-ops, student engineering, or student job positions with companies in the off season. Because everyone is so focused on this 4 years, fall, winter schedule, everyone wants a summer internship. Whereas if you're willing to go work in a fall semester or a winter semester, there's a lot less competition and you might stand out from the crowd more. And once you get your foot in the door, then that will really pay off for the future. That was something else I did as well, as I went and I worked for a company from January to May, and then that led to me getting another summer internship with a different company from May to June. So I was off for 8 months from school, but it really kick-started my career when I was just a sophomore. Another option that falls under this umbrella is study abroads. I never did a study abroad, and my wife will frequently remind me that because we got married, she had to give up a chance to do a study abroad because of timing and graduations and things. But they are a great experience from what I've heard, and it may be one of the most accessible times for you to travel in your young years. It may also be a great way that you can get credits while you're going to school, while experiencing new things, especially if there's some general education requirements you're going to have to take anyways. Why not take them somewhere scenic? There is cost added there, but if you make the most of it, you can really spin that on a resume or an interview to show that you are mature and you learn something that separates you from your peers because of your study abroad experience. The third reason why you might take a gap semester or gap year is if you can't pay for school. Now, there's no shame in taking out student loans, but you need to be responsible about it. You need to understand what your monthly payments are going to be after you graduate, as well as how much you're going to be making after you graduate. I have a couple videos from the beginning of the channel where I talk about some of these personal finance topics that will help you understand how much your loans are going to cost, how much you should hope to be making when you graduate, and how to reconcile those two things so that you're not going to graduate with more debt than you can handle. Also, let's say that maybe you don't qualify for FAFSA because your family's expected contribution is too high, but their actual contribution is zero. Because of this, you might not be able to get as many loans as you need, and if you can't, there's no shame in taking a semester or a year off to work. That shows maturity, and again, you can spin that to your benefit in the future. The fourth reason, and maybe the most important reason why you should take a gap year or gap semester, is for physical or mental health reasons. My wife had to do this several times actually because her celiac, her health concerns or dietary restrictions were going unnoticed, and she was living with people who weren't really, they weren't malicious, but they also weren't as careful as they should have been, and she was getting sicker and sicker and sicker because she wasn't living in a gluten-free environment. Because of this, she withdrew from 3 or 4 straight semesters of classes, and not dropped, withdrew, so that meant she still had to pay for them. She didn't get any credit for them. And so she did that for 3 or 4 semesters before she finally dropped out of college for a year. Eventually, she saved up money. She thought really hard about it, decided on a major. They figured out what was the cause of all of it, and she went back to school and she was able to graduate with her degree in a couple of years. So that was a really great reason for her to take off. In the end, it ended up being about 3 years on her transcript that she didn't get any credit for. As well, mental health reasons are very important. I will say that both physical and mental health reasons are things that don't necessarily go away. I see a lot of people talk about gap years as if it's like a way to recharge, and it is, but I also hope you use it as a way to address some of these issues, learn how to manage them, learn what works for you, learn what a reasonable course load is. Maybe you just shouldn't take more than 15 credits or more than 12 credits. That's okay. If that is what lets you keep going, that's what lets you keep your mental health in a good place. I know people hate to hear this, but your job life is stressful. You're going to have managers who are hard on you. You're going to have coworkers, or especially coworkers who might not be on your team, your individual team, that are hard to work with. You're going to have projects that you feel are over your head. Managing mental health is a real asset and a real skill, and sometimes it takes a semester or two to figure that out. But if you can do that and come back stronger, then it will be, again, another asset for your future. I want to end with this last message. I know, especially here on the College Guide, I talk a lot about graduating in 4 years because you pay less money and less student loans and you start making money faster and it's so much better. As good and as optimal as that is, it's not the most important thing in the world. And it's kind of even a silly idea that people feel like they fall behind. There are people who rush through school in 4 years, taking 18 or 20 credits a semester, but they never get any skills, they never make any friends, and they graduate with tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars of student debt. Similarly, there are people who start school at age 25, they take it slow, they're working full time, they don't graduate for 6 or 7 years, but they're debt free, they have work experience and a great network and maturity, which puts them a lot better off than a lot of 31-year-olds who may have graduated a decade earlier. And lastly, your career is long, 40 or 45 years of working, maybe even 50 years of working with medicine and life expectancies. Who knows how long we'll have to work to realistically retire. And ask your parents, in that career, there are any number of curveballs that could really throw you off track financially. Whether it's something bad, like, you'll get robbed, or your house burns down, or an unexpected health expense, or you get in a car wreck with no insurance, or anything like that, can set you back a lot of money. Unexpected good things can also set you back. For example, what if you weren't expecting to have a family and you have a kid? Or you wanted to have a kid and you end up with triplets? These unexpected financial concerns can cause a big impact on your life, and some of them, like a freak earthquake or fire, might not even be in your control. So at every phase of life, try and do what is the wisest decision for you personally, evaluate your options, and move forward so that you can do the right thing for you. But there are often more than one right things to choose from, and there is almost always not a single right way to do things. Sometimes a gap year might be the best thing you can do, even if it makes you fall behind. Thanks for watching this episode of College 101.